What's going on, everyone? It's Jay from the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee here with another episode. Before we get started, as always, let's present the committee. This evening I have with me the Professor, John J. Feathers.
Mixing it up.
Why not?
Good evening, everyone.
And co-host and co-founder Michael Sexy Ass Cavino.
Oh, hi. That's me. I feel it today.
He didn't like last week's intro, so I better give him a better one.
What was last week?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, this week it's pickle.
I'm Michael, and we are the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee.
And good night. Let's just roll right along here and present ours. This week I am presenting, as always, the Kimber 45 ACP Ultra Carry 2. And as you can see, it is clear.
It is.
Clear.
I am
Yes.
presenting the Browning High Power Mark III Classic, and as you can see, it is clear.
I am presenting a newly cleaned Dan Wesson 44.
It is. Look at that thing
As you
gleam.
can see, holy cats. I can see my sexy reflection in this thing.
I didn't know it was black.
I can see your pickle.
Can you?
Mm-mm.
Let's move on to the meaty in the minute, shall we, boys? So who watched the episode last week? Go on our YouTube page there. If you did, give us a shout. We're trying something a little new this week. Hopefully the audio quality is going to be a little louder for you, a little brighter. Hi everybody, we're on television again. So hopefully we have gotten that corrected, and it's going to be good. We've decided that the next big episode that we're going to take on is one of our favorite things, and that is Scotch. We are going to do a focused episode strictly on Scotch. It's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts and our gullets. And
I love it when it hits your lips.
Scotch.
Scotchy, scotch.
So
Here it goes down.
it's gonna take a little while to compile all of that, because I know it's gonna be a long conversation. So just give us time. We are working on that. We are still waiting on the Cochos to give us the phone call that says they are ready for us to come taste more of their whiskey, which I'm thoroughly still excited for.
We'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, you guys check out our media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email, which is wednesdaynightwhiskey@gmail.com, a Redbubble site where you can get our swag, a Patreon account if you're feeling generous, that's patreon.com. And also we have a coffee site, which is ko-fi.com. And if you want to cut out the middleman altogether and just send us your money directly, we do have a PayPal account. So if you are interested in any of that information at a slower speed, please send us a message via the Facebook, Twitter, whatever you got to get a hold of us. We will let you know. Without any further ado, we are presenting a new whiskey this evening, which kind of ties into our topic discussions for the evening. So I will let Jason take it away.
Good evening. This evening we will be doing the Sexton Single Malt Irish Whiskey, distilled in copper pots.
Did you say Cobblepot?
Copper.
Copperpot.
Copper.
Oswald Copperpot?
Copper.
Okay.
Copper.
I got the reference, Jay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, like the Fox and the Hound.
That's why. Copper from Fox and the Hound.
That's
I
right.
like Todd more.
Todd. Yes,
Yeah,
me too.
Copper can fuck off. Did you ever hear the original story of that?
No.
It's really fucky. You should look into it.
That's the official Wednesday Night Whiskey review. It's really fucky.
All right, so now we're going to break open the Sexton. It seems that we have a penchant the last couple of weeks for moving from hexagonal to hexagonal bottles.
That's because whenever I'm on my Subaru, I don't want them rolling off the roof.
That's right. They'll roll right off the roof if they're not
Oh,
hexagonal.
speaking of a tin cup reference, you know how a few weeks ago for episode 24 they liked our tweet? As we were at work today, they
Who did?
liked
Subaru?
No, Tin Cup did.
Oh, I bet you wasn't
and I
Subaru.
tagged them on Facebook about it too. I said, "Hey, thanks to Tin Cup they liked our post today."
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're on Tin Cup's radar.
I'll tell you what.
Thanks, Tin Cup.
I don't mind being on Tin Cup's radar.
I don't either. That is some delicious.
That is some
delicious whiskey,
It is
and
some delicious whiskey.
I haven't made that purchase yet from my home shelf, but by God, it'll be there.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, maybe.
So we are going back to the
High five.
Sexton, made in County Antrim
Ooh.
in Northern Ireland. One thing that's very interesting here is we have the word duff here. I don't know. Is this a darker colored? We'll have to
find out.
whenever
Yeah.
we open it up. We'll have to pay special attention. That means dark in Gaelic. So I'm wondering what that's about. There's virtually no information.
Does it not also mean beer in Springfield?
Yes, it is actually, but this is DUBH.
Oh, okay.
Although Duff does mean beer in Springfield, yes. There's virtually nothing about this whiskey online. To pull straight from all they have to say about it is made from 100% Irish malted barley. The Sexton is triple distilled in copper pot stills and aged in former Oloroso sherry casks. The result is a perfect balance of rich, dried fruits and subtle oak notes with a smooth finish that will leave you wanting more. And that's pretty much all they have to say about it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That was quite the short history.
Yeah, they don't have a history, they don't have anything. In doing a little bit of research on what I could gather from some other sources, it is made in Northern Ireland, County Antrim. And it's a Proximo product, which leads me to believe that this stuff is probably made at the Bushmills distillery.
I see.
Both of which are Proximo owned. And from what I actually found out researching it, pretty much all Irish whiskeys, unlike Scotland or here in the States where there are literally distilleries like all over, in a lot of different places, just about every Irish whiskey is the end result of one of 4 distilleries.
Huh.
So, yeah. So my guess is, seeing as how it's distilled in County Antrim, and it's a Proximo product. It never comes out and says this. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's probably made at Bushmills. It is 100% malted barley mash, triple distilled in copper pots. They age it for 4 years in first, second, and third fill sherry casks, which is an interesting take, actually, considering that in recent years many Irish whiskeys have gone a different route. They've really gone to using bourbon casks, and like Jameson's is going to using some stout casks. So this using a sherry cask it's a unique thing. After being blended by master blender Alex Thomas, who represents one of the few women in the whiskey industry.
Spoilers.
She has over 13 years of experience under her belt. Ms. Thomas says, "We're using classic Irish single malt techniques to craft the Sexton with only 3 ingredients of 100% malted barley, yeast, and water from Ireland. But what makes us truly special is our maturation process. We're purposely aging our whiskey for 4 years in carefully selected casks to create a fresh, new style single malt, which is bold in personality, yet extremely approachable." So, I mean, really, that's about
Is
all
it
the
as
information.
approachable as Mike Covina?
Absolutely not. No one come
No-
up and talk
nothing's
to me.
as-
If you don't know me, don't come talk to me.
Nothing's as approachable
Stay the
as Mike
fuck away.
Covina.
I don't even want to look at you.
He's kidding.
I'm not. I won't give you an autograph.
It is 80 proof.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit lower on the proof rating than a lot of other whiskeys. So yeah, County Antrim. They do have an interesting little thing on the side of the bottle here.
A blurb.
A blurb. "Follow that scent into the crypt, and you might find a locked door, faintly glowing at its edges. Through that door, find the rows of beckoning European oak. Once the sacramental casks of fine sherry, now brimming with aqua vitae. For you see, to be a sexton is a spiritual trade, and whiskey is their favorite spirit." I found that kind of interesting, actually.
I'm motivated.
I'm motivated to drink it.
I am too.
yeah.
I'm really excited about this because this was actually brought to my attention by a fellow whisketeer and the secret 4th member of the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee, Al Scarton. He's like, "Jay, you got to try this." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Okay, great." And I actually haven't been this excited about an Irish whiskey since he introduced us to the Irishman.
The Irishman.
Yeah.
One other thing to bring up too, I believe this comes in at right around or even slightly less than a $30 price point.
Yes, it was $30.
Yeah, I saw online it's listed in a lot of places for $28. So I mean, we're talking about a definitely affordable whiskey here.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's for what it is, the price point. It was delicious. I'm biased. So
well, it's nice to go back to the Emerald Isle here for a little while. We haven't been there for a little while.
We have not been for a while, so.
And County Antrim is just badass. So
we crack into it?
I say we do it.
Like a little pull tab here. See if it's got a cork. Although I don't think Jay would bring it on the show if he knowingly knew it didn't.
I've done worse.
I'm actually wondering. I mean, I do realize that the sextagonal bottle, sex being 6 there, it may prevent it. There's the pour. It is a rich amber.
That's the one drawback about the bottle, as I see Mike's hand.
That's what I was going to say.
And it is slightly covered with whiskey. It does not pour well at all.
It might keep you from rolling off the hood of your Subaru, but it doesn't pour very well.
It is definitely worth the taste, though. In my opinion.
There's a little spill. You can see.
So yeah.
It's just hard to avoid.
While the bottle
Wasted whiskey is bad whiskey.
Is terribly cool. It doesn't pour all that well at all.
Yep, sure is.
So, what do you say, boys?
Cheers.
Let's throw it
to
up.
Mr. Scarton for a recommendation.
Yes.
Cheers to all our Patreon. Oh boy, what a nose.
Mm-hmm.
I like that nose. It's like...
It almost reminds me of a rye.
It's
kind of.
I'm not getting a rye.
I'm not getting a rye, but what's interesting is it's like strong and then mild. Like it hit me really hard at first, and then when I went back to it, it wasn't.
Mike Cavino.
Aww, guys.
He's hard, and then he's mild.
I'm hard all the time.
And then you're mild.
And then he's mine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Are we going in? We're going in. All right. Sláinte more.
Salud.
Yep.
Wow. Not at all where the nose led me.
No?
No.
No.
Good no? Bad no?
I like it. I'm trying to decipher all the different tastes.
It's more complex than I figured
Exactly.
it would be.
It is a little more, way more complex. As where the Irishman was like really just straightforward. This is, because I think the one we got was a single malt.
I'm not getting a very long finish out of it though. Unfortunately,
none. Like none.
Yeah, it's strange.
I'm not even sure it finished.
Mm-hmm. When you were talking about the complexity, I was like, yeah, I know it's complex, but I don't know how I know that.
Right.
Because it doesn't linger at all.
None.
Yeah.
It reverse finishes.
I wonder what that's about.
It leaves your mouth.
The spirits go back to where they
From.
belong. Yeah.
I like it though.
I like it too.
It's not a harsh whiskey at all.
No, it's an eminently sippable whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it was. I don't know if it knocks the Irishman off my rank of Irish whiskeys at this point,
really
but it's
weird.
it's really good.
There is no finish
At all.
None.
At all.
0.
Yeah. It's strange.
I've had water with stronger finishes.
And that's what it makes me think of. It makes me think of water.
Yeah.
The finish of it.
Aqua Vitae, the water.
But give it a minute.
Yeah.
This is a J whiskey though.
It is. This is a straight J.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
It's complex. It's not harsh. It's smooth. It's a J whiskey.
Aw.
No smoke.
I'll take that.
There's no smokiness. It is. I can definitely.
I can see you
It's
really.
not a dig at you at all. Because I like it.
That's what we should, for a future episode, we should talk about what whiskeys we would be.
What whiskeys we would think each other would be.
Yeah. This is straight J.
Yeah.
This is such a J whiskey.
I'll take it.
They should just rename this the J.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board. Sexton, if you're listening, which, come on, let's face it, we know you are.
Oh yeah.
With the if you want to change the name and put my name and face on it, maybe that'd be
Keep
awesome.
the face off of it, but yeah, just the name.
No,
is
we
fine.
can use this face. It's just a skeletal.
Yeah.
We'll just put a beard on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
J.
All right, one more time, boys. Appreciate you guys.
as well.
All right. Let's rate this thing. What are you
What's
thinking?
the Irish scale?
I don't remember what
if you
we had.
if you haven't drank enough Irish whiskey, drink some more.
Okay, I'm probably pretty good on that score, but I'm just wondering like what we.
Yeah, I don't remember what we gave.
I don't think we had. What do you,
Bushmills or the Irishman?
for those of you at home pondering that question, our rating list is published. If you want to know the answer to those questions and find them your damn self.
How dare you?
I know, how dare I. The
Irishman
Bushmills White came in at a 73 out of 100. The Bushmills Black came at 78 out of 100.
Irishman.
Oh, and the Irishman, we gave 80 out of 100.
That lines up to my thinking.
So I don't think we've had an Irish whiskey since.
I think I would probably change my Irishman score at this point.
Oh, I think that was back when we were just rating them on a whiskey scale instead of a
Yeah.
by area.
Regional.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. We didn't have them split apart in the categories at that point.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking?
I think that I like it. I don't like it as much as the Irishman, but like Jason said, I think that the scale was kind of wacky back then because I think I would rate it higher than the Irishman now. But that's me saying that I would also rate the Irishman higher now. So I think I gave the Irishman like a 79. I would probably give it like an 83, whereas this I would give an 81.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
that's a good rate. Jason.
I don't know.
This is easily
Ooh,
one of the better Irish whiskeys I've had.
Yeah.
But it's so sippable. Like I was saying.
Which I think plays a bigger factor in.
I really like it. I do.
I sense it. I like big butts, and I cannot lie coming here.
I like it a lot, but I like it for a second, and then there's not enough body.
That's the only reason
Or
I couldn't go
finishing.
higher. Yeah.
It's like it kind of wusses out on me at the end.
Oh, so that's what a J whiskey means?
No,
I'm just busting your balls.
I'm gonna give it an 81.
81. All right. I actually.
And the only thing about that is I just wish it had a little more kick to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't rate it higher at this point than the Irishman because I still feel that was.
I think I'm with Mike. I would give the Irishman a few more points.
I would too at this
So
point.
I would have probably given the Irishman like an 83-ish.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to give this. It's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there. It just doesn't have quite enough.
Yeah, it's not fair to make this one come lower down on its points because of a new scale.
Right.
I mean, obviously by the
I mean, if that's
I'm
the
going to give
case,
it an 82.
I would
actually.
Okay, I would give this a. And remember, we can always change these before the night's over. I'm going to give this an 80 because I was going to give it a 79. But if now we're changing,
going up a little bit.
now because of the scale is somewhat different.
I do have to say this. I was just kind of sipping it a minute, like before. I took a good pull on that one. It's better when you take big pulls. I take it back. This is not a sipping whiskey. This is like a whiskey that you just quaff in huge amounts.
All right.
That's what I say.
I'm unfortunately out.
If you're going to drink, you've been quaffing in huge amounts. Here's my recommendation to anybody who's going to drink the Sexton. Do it. Like, definitely, because this is a good whiskey.
Did you chew it?
Yeah, I chewed it. I mulled it over. But if you're going to drink it, like, you can't baby it. Like, you've got to just dig in and go.
And I don't want to say that it's like a shooter shot either.
No. You got to mull it around.
Yeah.
But I mean, in big.
add a splash of water to that.
Okay.
It actually
hold on.
does extend the finish on it.
Really?
It's not a long finish, but it will give you a little bit of a finish. Just a drop.
But will it give me a happy ending?
Yes.
That's the question.
Always.
All right.
I feel that might be inappropriate.
What do you mean?
I
meant, well, I like it when it's done.
Will he be happy at the end of it?
Right.
It will be a happy.
I don't know
Pay
what you were
attention,
thinking.
Jay. Goddamn Sexton of people.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you
It just went up a point. The water.
It does. For some reason, it just gives it that little bit of
The
a
water brought it up
edge.
to an 83.
83. This is the first time I've had to change Jason's score 3 times.
Twice.
Look, it's math. We've agreed that I can't do the math.
Okay.
Speaking of math, does that change the?
Your face changes it.
That's
Call me
fair
enough.
The average on this whiskey is 81 out of 100. Do you give it a full star?
Yeah.
Jason?
Oh yeah.
I do as well, because I like it a lot.
Like a lot of whiskeys, the more I drink it, the more I like it.
And I've never, well, I wouldn't say never, but it seems to me like Irish whiskey is towards the bottom of go-to whiskeys for me. I tend to either go with a Scotch, obviously, or if I'm in the mood for like a rye whiskey. Mm-hmm. Like Canadian whiskey is just straight out, unless that's
What
the
is
only
it?
thing to drink there. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I used to drink a lot more Irish whiskey, and
I just never got into it.
I used to drink quite a bit of Bushmills as a budget, just company whiskey kind of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I've gravitated away from a lot of Irish whiskeys. I've never liked Jameson's much.
Yeah.
It has a real funky aftertaste for me. This is, if you set down Jameson's or this, I would easily go with this.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, Jameson's has a strong afterbirth.
It does have a strong afterbirth. It finishes bloodily
Yes.
and soapy.
All right, Jay. What's the topic tonight? Do
Well,
we know?
We have to. I think before we get into that, we should pull the audible right now before we get in.
You want to throw the audible?
You want to do that now?
Before we get deep.
Toss the audible.
Okay, so we found out some news today, which it would be yesterday, if you're listening. Yeah, we know. We record on Tuesday nights.
We record on Tuesdays, people. Come on.
Move the curtain. Find out.
Right. The man behind
Who is the
Pay
man?
no attention to the man behind the curtain. No.
So,
Behind the chair at this
The
point.
man on the chair.
there is a game series and book series that is about to be a Netflix series.
Right.
The Witcher, which was originally a book series and then made into a pretty awesome series of games by CD Projekt Red. And
I'm willing to go on the record as of recently. Now, I'm not saying it's my favorite, because that's a different slot.
right,
And it's not the most addictive game I've ever played.
sure.
But up to this point in time, I seriously think that The Witcher 3 is the best put together, written, playable video game.
Oh my god, you can tell
That I've
they
ever
care so
played.
much about the game.
Yeah, and I've read the first novel, and actually have the second and third waiting for me, and they're quite good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've definitely become a fan of the series, fan of the games. I think that they're really well done. I think the game's fantastic, and I'm just going to openly challenge anybody who wants to. I think I'll kick your ass at Gwent.
Yeah,
So
I would never challenge this.
We should have a Gwent tournament.
No way.
So, just saying.
Is it a thing? Are you calling it out?
I'm calling it out. Anybody who
The
wants
gauntlet has been thrown.
Gauntlet's
Nathan
been
Preda, are you listening?
The Gwent tournament. Let's go.
The Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee is going to sponsor a Gwent tournament.
That's right.
Details to follow. See how this show happens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just happens.
So, digression aside, the main character,
Did I
Geralt of
digest?
Rivia, was obviously he's the main character of the novels as well as the games.
Yes.
So the series hinges on that character,
Yes.
and before
It's the character. I
Exactly.
mean, that's it.
exactly, and he's
Yeah.
got a very stoic personality, but he's a pretty deep character, and
Really deep character, actually. Yeah.
I remember reading a few weeks ago that an actor, Henry Cavill, who played Superman, he was in the new Mission Impossible, Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's a fantastic actor.
He's a really good actor.
He plays stoic and brooding very well.
He does.
Like, I don't think he's at fault for the DC movies being terrible at all.
Not at all.
I
That's
think
not
he crushed
his.
it as
No.
Superman.
He crushed it, and I think that's just a matter of he had to work with what he was given.
Yeah. Well, he's a known nerd to the movie community.
He missed the
Everyone knows
Superman call because he was playing World of Warcraft.
Exactly, because he was playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
So this guy,
I like him that much more.
He's ripped, fucking just man.
Yeah.
But he's also playing World of Warcraft, playing EVE Online,
Yeah.
and he's a huge fan of the book series, The Witcher.
Right.
So he basically called out and said it would be a dream role of mine to play Geralt of Rivia. And then today, like I was alluding to earlier, the news broke that he was cast as Geralt.
He was cast as Geralt.
So
I think that's going to be a majorly cool thing. Speculation online is pointing to the fact that dude probably took a major pay cut.
Exactly.
I mean, he's an A-list actor.
yeah.
So this is a work of passion for him.
And he's got those Superman royalties rolling in, so he can take a fucking pay cut to take a passion project.
Yeah.
And you have to respect the guy that does that.
I guess there were some other people that had been kicked around that I think would have done a good job. Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah. Which he could still be in the series.
He could still be in the series. I think as Geralt, though, I think he'll be. I think Cavill will be fine. I'm wondering. There's a subtle. The more I read, the more I realize that there's an external facet. There's an external shell of stoicism to Geralt, but underneath he does have a very sort of there's sort of a very strong sort of sarcastic wit to him as well.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can bring that out as well.
Did you watch Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No.
You should watch it.
Okay.
You should definitely watch it. And then, did you ever watch The Tudors when it was on?
No. I didn't. I do understand he did a really good job.
He did really good. And like I said, just hearing that casting news has me really excited.
I'm pretty pumped.
And I think
that's
whenever
gonna
you
be good.
cast an actor of that level for a Netflix show, you bring in other talent that you wouldn't have acquired otherwise. Because generally speaking, you look at Netflix and their originals and you're like, who with who?
Right,
And
right.
who? But you see someone like him getting cast, then other talent are more likely to maybe take
Well,
a
yeah,
pay cut.
exactly. I mean, this is going to be a big step, I think, for Netflix as well.
Yeah.
You know.
And I really feel that the future of, I don't want to say movies, but the future of shows to watch are going to be these Netflix originals.
Well, we have a Lord of the Rings original coming out on Amazon. They have the rights
Right,
to the Lord of the Rings extended universe. There's
Dear
a new
God,
game.
I'm just going to make a small plea right now. Please, Amazon, just please,
Don't call Peter Jackson.
no, don't call Pete. And I really am going to make an official nerd appeal right now and just say, please give it what it's due.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can't.
That's a fair one. I would just say no CGI dwarfs.
Yeah, I just don't know if I can take anymore. When the original trilogy came out, there were some things about it that I was really pleased with, and I thought it was okay. There was the things that I didn't like about it were pretty easily overlooked.
Yeah.
But after Jackson's treatment of the Hobbit, it almost made me sick to my stomach.
I wouldn't even. I guess he has to shoulder a lot of the blame, but that's the studio. It's Jackson, but it's the studio.
I know, but you can't tell me that after the huge success, the original trilogy. Well, you could tell me. I'm not.
He didn't want it to be 3 movies.
Yeah. And I guess originally he didn't even want to direct it. Correct.
Correct.
He originally wanted Guillermo del Toro or something to do it, but Guillermo was busy. And I'm still kind of wondering what a Guillermo del Toro would have looked like.
I would kill for that, but I'm gonna let him do Mountains of Madness.
If it came down to the fact that Peter Jackson had to do The Hobbit, and we do get a Mountains of Madness Guillermo del, I would take that over it.
Yeah.
But still, this is it. This is just my official nerd appeal. Please, dear God, Amazon, give it what it's due, because it is. It's the single most important fantasy work of all time.
Yeah. Well, they've got to compete with the Witcher series, and they've got to compete with the new Game of Thrones series,
right?
Because they're doing prequels to the Game of Thrones,
right?
So you've got some big competition, so they've got to.
You have huge competition.
Yeah, they've got to step up.
I think the Witcher series is going to be big.
Yeah,
I really do. And adding Henry Cavill to it is only going to make it bigger.
It's going to make it that much better.
Yeah. Now, that's the other thing, too. I mean, this is an appeal to Netflix. Give that series what it's due. Obviously,
well, they've been crushing it.
Yeah, they have.
I have no
really
fears
have.
with Netflix.
They
haven't given me a reason to give any pause.
No, they've done some really good stuff. You know, if they give it like,
I mean, I think just on the shoulders of Stranger Things.
I was gonna say, if they give it half the attention they give Stranger Things, you know.
So yeah, that's. I'm actually. I mean, I wasn't that crazy about the game, so to speak.
Right.
Well, Witcher 3, that's the one that I got to play.
You know,
but as far as like watching, I never wanted to say like I wasn't invested in the story.
Right.
Because
it's
I was.
Amazingly good story, deep, rich. The characters are very vibrant.
And you play the game, and this is a quote from a couple of buddies of mine, but they say you're doing a side quest in this mission, and it could be the main quest of any other game.
Absolutely.
Just with how well the world is established.
And I mean, like, I hate to say it. I mean, you know that in my heart of hearts, Skyrim will always be the game, right?
I'm just gonna keep drinking.
But I do have to say, I was amazed at how good The Witcher 3 was as a game.
I'm glad you gave it a shot.
I had it in my, I didn't want to, let's put it this way, I did not want to like that game.
Sure.
I went into it thinking like, well, okay, whatever. It's a really good game. They gave the game enough attention. I mean, sure, it digresses a bit from the novels, and it sort of takes place in a period that the novels haven't really covered. So they have a little bit of carte blanche there in a way for some certain things. But I mean, if Netflix gives the series the same amount of attention and quality control that they gave the game when they adapted that from the novels, it'll be out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Cool.
Nice.
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 I'm excited. Alright, so the main topic discussion of this evening, you heard me give a little spoiler there when Jason was reading the history on the Sexton.
It has arrived. We're here.
We have finally pulled the boat into the dock. It is time to discuss the women of whiskey. This whole...
Let's toast to Jay for finally getting this shit together. Because it's been, a week since he decided to do this?
I think it's been a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Really, when you put your nose down and get something done, it takes you... I mean,
you do it.
Yeah.
And I also want to say this. We should taste... Or, no.
We'll taste.
Toast. I know, you're not going to like it when I get to what I'm about to say, actually. We should toast the lovely women of whiskey, because...
Let's taste the lovely women.
Because, honestly, I mean, they don't get their due.
No, they don't. And just to do a little quick recap of how this happened. In my, I started this journey as new as anyone could be when it came to really, really understanding what whiskey was. And whiskey gets a bad rap as being a predominantly male kind of experience. But I found out that really isn't the case. And the more I would do some homework on other things, the more the thought kept nagging at me of, hey, we gotta put women in the women in the field of whiskey. They need to be recognized. They need to be recognized. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a lot of information. Whether it's good information, I don't know. However, it is true information. And it kind of started with Whisketeer Jeremy Nixon said to me, have you guys heard about Castle and Key? And I went, nope. And he said, well, it's pretty much the first female distiller, or master distiller since the Prohibition, is she's making this whiskey now. And he said, it hasn't been heard of in a long, long time.
Right.
And I said, well, we should talk about that. So, in my search for information on Marianne Barnes and the Castle Key distillery, the company, that's when I started just going further down the rabbit hole of, oh man, you got, Lafroig's in here, Cardou's in here. There's just a bunch of...
Have you guys tried triple wood?
Who makes it?
Who makes that?
La Hoyig?
I think it's Lafroig.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which, oddly enough, is my first bullet point here.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So basically, the further I dug into this, the further the rabbit hole goes, and it literally, I just had to put the brakes on and just stop. Yes.
Can I make a new drinking rule?
Yes.
Every time I mention the Freud triple wood, we have to drink.
Okay.
I will be destroyed by the time the camera's rolling.
So I eventually just had to throw the brakes on at one point and say, you know what? There has to be a point when enough is enough. You guys remember that commercial a few years ago where they said, like, congratulations, you have reached the end of the internet.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the commercial where they showed the egg frying on the side.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say you could fry a dog's brain.
Yeah, they say hot enough to fry an egg, hot enough to fry a dog's brain.
Anyway. Yeah, cool.
Neat.
This has been Jay.
I am Michael.
So like I said, and there's had to be a point where I had to stop. I mean, literally, like, every Al was sending me, like, you should talk about this. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy was sending me, like, 2 or 3 topics, like, you should talk about this for the women of whiskey. And I'm like, I literally was in information overload, and I just had to stop and go, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
There is way more out there than this. I'm probably going to shortchange a lot of hardworking women in this field, and dear God, please, I don't mean to.
Maybe we can have a follow-up or a addendum or you know what I mean.
I love you. But I will hurt you.
I'm actually excited.
Yeah.
I don't know nearly enough.
Yeah, I had a lot of
topic.
fun with this. I really, really did. Unfortunately, like I said before, I didn't know how to present this aside from just spewing forth a ton of information, and that's what I'm going to do. So I will say that the first 4 items that I have here were part of my initial research when I went, oh, this might not be so bad.
Right.
And then I kept digging further and went, oh boy. So I do kind of have this in some sort of cohesive thought pattern.
It's kind of like the Whiskey Rebellion, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with my initial findings came from Forbes.com, and the main topic was the 4 women who shaped the history of whiskey. And I thought, well, that's a great place to start.
That's certainly.
So that's where we're going to start, and we're going to start with Bessie Williamson, who is the owner of Lafroig. The only woman in history to own and manage a distillery in the 20th century, there was no indication that Bessie Williamson would become such an important whiskey figure. The daughter of a clerk who was killed in World War I, she was on holiday for the summer on Islay in 1934 with a friend and applied for a summer job working as a shorthand typist at the Lafroig Whiskey Distillery. She stuck around for a little while.
I guess so.
Yeah. She rapidly rose through the ranks, first by managing the office at Lafroig, then taking on additional management responsibilities when owner Ian Hunter suffered a stroke in 1938. When he died in 1954, he left her £5,000, ownership of the distillery business, and the tiny islet of Texas to her. Is that right? Texas?
Yeah, that'll work.
It's strange that he would give her £5,000.
I know. And the distillery.
That's what I mean.
Here's the distillery.
Yeah.
And here's £5,000.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here, I got you this.
Right.
But also this.
Yeah. That's really
that's
weird.
the complete package.
Yeah.
Bessie won.
Although, what year was that again?
He suffered the stroke.
Yeah.
Well, he died. He died in 54.
I mean, £5,000 in 54 does considerably, adjusted for inflation. It's a lot more money than it seems. I mean,
Sure.
compared to a freaking
That's what I mean, though.
distillery,
That's what I mean. It's a drop in the water. Yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. I don't know. It's just funny that.
It is
why would
funny.
you include any money?
He
must have really liked her.
Startup money for the house.
I'll tell you what, man. That is an amazing story, and it really goes to show. I mean, we've all sort of become. When I say we, maybe I mean me.
Okay.
I don't know. That's the royal we there. become a little bit jaded in the modern times, and the idea that, you know, it seems like a lot of times now people don't get anywhere through hard work. They either have to know somebody, or, you know, or you see people who like slave their lives away and don't ever get anywhere or whatever. But this is kind of cool in regard to the fact that it is literally a classic story.
Yeah.
And this woman started at
the bottom. Yeah.
And it really speaks to her. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say I know anything about her, I guess, where she leaves her priorities. Right. But I will say that for this gentleman, at that era,
he recognized it.
To recognize her as the person to carry on his legacy.
I mean, in the 50s when he died, that was not a real, you know, big thing.
No, women owning anything, any businesses.
Right. That's pretty damn awesome.
So what I want us to do right now is, since we're moving on, we shall toast.
We shall toast
to Bessie Williamson.
Absolutely.
Bessie, this one's for you.
I wish we had some triple wood to toast her.
I've heard that.
I heard it's good.
I really plan on it in the near future, if I can.
I have some Lafroig in the next room if you want me to bring
that. It's pretty good.
All right, now I'm going to preface this next one by saying I am going to butcher this terribly.
Do you want me to read it?
It's awesome.
Do you want to read it? Absolutely.
I'm going to preface this by saying Jay is going to butcher this wickedly. This section is about Jessie Roberta Cowan, Rita Tatesuru, mother of Japanese whiskey.
He's doing a good job.
He is.
A young Japanese man, Matasake Tatesuru, came to Scotland to learn how to make whiskey. He ended up falling in love.
We actually talked about this dude before.
Yeah, we did. He ended up falling in love and marrying the daughter of his landlords, Jessie Rita Roberta Cowan, in 1920, to the displeasure of both families.
I'm sure.
Taking her back to Japan, he began to work on his dream of building a whiskey distillery. Masatake would go on to build Kotobuyuka's, later to become Suntory, the first whiskey plant. He eventually left the company, disgusted that they were not planning on producing real whiskey, and established his own distillery in the Japanese highlands of Yoichi, setting up the Nika Distillery. During this time, Rita provided both moral and financial support, as she gave English classes to both children and housewives while learning Japanese herself. Eventually, the business began to find success during World War II, as Japanese Navy began drinking the whiskey, though Rita was ostracized as a spy by the local community.
She was a Brit.
Yeah. It continued to prosper afterwards, and she became known as the mother of Japanese whiskey. Rita and Masatake eventually adopted their nephew, Takashi, after his father died in World War II, who went on to take over the company and rapidly expanded its operations around the world. And we know that from the Suntory episode, that company has really, really exploded. Nowadays, she is a celebrated figure in Japan, and a recent TV series based on her life and relationship with Masatake was an enormous success. What's the name of that series? Because I'm not familiar with it.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research in the.
I think that'd be cool to see.
There's also a manga, which is a Japanese comic drawn about her. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that woman has a manga.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's totally wicked. So thanks, Mike. I would have destroyed that for sure.
It's all about confidence, Jay. I probably fucked everything up.
Nah, let's not.
But you did it well.
But you did it well. You hide it well.
Are we gonna toast her?
Yeah. Let's toast Jessie Roberta Cowan, the mother of Japanese whiskey.
So.
Go on. Sorry.
Cowan. Jessie Cowan. Jessie Takatsuru. Rita Takatsuru ni Cowan.
Yep.
Cool. Neat. Good job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
The next one is... did I say that right earlier? Cardew? Yeah, I was right. The next woman of whiskey here is Helen Cumming. She is the founder and owner of Cardew. Until recently, Helen Cumming was the only woman to ever be a founder of a Scotch whiskey distillery. Though John Cumming, her husband, was the official founder, it's recognized now that it was Helen's business acumen and creative ways of avoiding alcohol taxes that kept the distillery going.
I love avoiding alcohol content. Air taxes.
I just love that I know a woman who is very good at hiding from the tax man.
Yeah.
The story, a story that says that she once managed to disguise the distillery as a bakery while serving tea to the auditors, while signaling other distilleries with a red flag that they were in town.
I love this one.
I know, right? Another recounts a time when she walked 20 miles loaded with bladders of whiskey in her skirt,
I love
knowing
bladders.
knowing that the authorities wouldn't be so undignified as to search her. Though she passed Cardew onto her son Louis and stayed involved in running the distillery into her mid-90s, it is his wife Elizabeth that took over after Louis died unexpectedly. Under her watch, Cardew greatly expanded production, and then she made a lot of money for the family by selling the distillery off to Johnny Walker.
Well, I mean, most of it was good.
Until it became Johnny
Until it
Walker.
became Johnny
Take that
Walker.
money though.
Yeah, I know.
Why
I
not?
know. Hey,
Sure,
can we
listen.
link that manga to the...
I sent it to the group text. so
Okay,
we can
awesome.
add
We
it to
did
the show.
fun. What was the name of it?
It wasn't the
Instant
TV
gratification.
series, not the manga. It was called Masan, which seems to be a Japanese TV series, but it is the one that
Oh, very
that
cool.
was
Yeah,
based
we'll
on.
link that.
Yeah.
Save that picture. And send it
That
to me,
woman
too.
is my hero. I love her.
To walk 20 miles with bladders of whiskey under her
I
skirt?
feel like we should probably toast her.
I know.
I think we should.
I think we should toast her
Helen
with
Cummins?
a bladder of whiskey.
This is to your bladder of whiskey.
And you know what? Sticking it to the tax man.
This doesn't sound like Janet, though.
I will just, yeah.
That was my first thought. I was like, this is just a woman after Janet's heart.
That's beautiful.
I love it.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love anybody who'll stick it to the tax
I
man.
think Jason should read the next one.
You think?
We'll get the round table.
All right. Here you go, buddy. And I love the name, too. I'm partial to this one because of the Batman, hidden Batman reference.
This is Ethel Grieg, Miss Babs Robertson.
I get it.
Thanks.
Yeah, the founder of Edrington. Ethel Grieg Robertson's grandfather, William Alexander Robertson, had founded the Robertson and Baxter firm of brokers and blenders, the Clyde Bonding Company, and Highland Distillers over the course of his career. Many hugely influential whiskey figures, such as Sir Alexander Walker and John Dewar Jr., were apprentices under him. Dewars and Walker.
Yeah.
Her father, James, inherited the family business, which in turn was passed down to her and her sisters, who deputed Ethel to represent them in all whiskey business matters, on his death in 1944.
Copy and paste it. What do you want?
Really? You've had 7 months to work on a whiskey and you're copy pasting.
Hey,
James.
Forbes.com, baby.
An,
Blame them.
an avid stag hunter and race car driver, she promptly managed not only to soundly steer the company, but to also ward off continuous aggressive takeover attempts by the enormous American firm Seagram.
Boom, boom.
Bum, bum, bum. In order to protect their business interests and to avoid the impact of extremely high inheritance taxes, once again, here's a lady sticking it to the tax man.
tax man.
Sticking
it to the tax
Tax man.
She created a holding company and a charitable trust. The holding company was named after one of the Robertson family farms, Edrington, and the company's shares were passed on to the Robertson Trust. Today, Edrington owns the Highland Park and Macallan distilleries, amongst others, as well as the famous Grouse blended whiskey. The Robertson Trust is now the largest charitable trust in Scotland, distributing over £20 million to over 500 causes a year.
Nice.
So we should toast
I
Miss
think we should
Robertson.
toast Babs.
To Babs! To Babs.
Okay, so that brings an end to the first portion of this, and I can safely say that this was the four of the biggest founders of. Did you not mention that?
No, I did.
You did not?
Okay, I did.
You did?
I did.
Okay. So that kind of brings an end to the original four. We'll say the original
big four.
Big four.
The big four.
Of the women of whiskey.
Who was Anthrax?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. No one, I hope.
Scott Ian?
I hate anthrax, by the way. I'm just putting that out
Well,
there.
because it kills a lot of people. People
It
don't
does.
realize
It's
it.
horrible. It's horrible.
It's not just a good baking
Sheep
ingredient.
don't like it at all.
That's what I mean.
I know.
It's not just a good baking.
I know.
Wow. So that was kind of like the past of women of whiskey, and now I have a little segment here on the future of women in whiskey. Now,
You know why the Unabomber got his name?
No.
That's nothing to do with the women of whiskey. It was just we were talking about anthrax, and it reminded me. The word Unabomber it's based off of the two places.
Uniped. Nothing.
Unibrow, Unimart.
Universal.
There was two establishments that he targeted, and it made up the name.
Unimart.
Anyway, continue. Women of whiskey.
No.
Yeah, no, you can't leave me
You
hanging.
can't leave me hanging on that.
I can't remember.
I think it was Unimart.
It was universities and
University
I can't remember the other ones.
and Unimart.
It might have been Unimart
I
actually.
think it was Unimart.
Anyway, I'll find out. Just keep going.
All right.
I love how I love the way you title this. The future, women in whiskey now.
That's right.
I love it.
So,
That's a good title.
once again, I'm
Airlines, universities and airlines.
Airline.
And Unimarts.
And Unimarts.
Unimart.
There's no Unimarts.
There used to be. He targeted them. They're not there anymore.
Wow.
Women.
Back to the ladies.
Listen, it's not that we're disrespecting the women of whiskey. We do this to everything.
That's true.
All right. Anybody listening?
We wanted you to feel special, but we're treating you just like everyone else.
Right. I don't want anybody to think that we don't very much respect the women of whiskey. We do. We just shit on everything.
It's true. You should know that by now.
Right.
Yeah, you're 27 episodes deep. You should have
Right.
figured that one out. So the future of women in whiskey now. And these are in no particular order. I didn't sort these by date or time.
I love your blending of future and present tense.
You like that? Wait till you see the second segue.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I purposely set that one up. So the first one I'm going to read here, and hopefully I pronounce your name right. If I don't, I'm sorry. Wow, that whole first line is just a bunch of stuff I'm going to butcher.
I got it.
You want to read it?
This is for Mike to read.
There you go. Yeah, Mike's good with
All
big
those
words.
Scottish names I was real good with. Now we got to hand it to Mike.
What? This one right here?
Yep.
Pia Carasone?
Okay.
Or Carasone?
Carasone.
Yeah, depends what the ethnicity is.
Scopa!
Scopa! Co-owner of Washington, D.C.-based Republic Restoratives, the nation's first 100% female-owned distillery, says women are making a splash in the whiskey world as makers and drinkers today for many reasons.
I see what she did. She said splash.
Oh, I get it. Oh.
Yeah.
On Mother's Day 2016, the two women opened the Republic Restoratives following a successful crowdfunding campaign that raised just over $400,000. Becky Harris and her, Becky Harris and her sorry. Becky Harris and her husband Scott left their previous professions to launch Virginia-based Catoosan Creek. Are you familiar with that? In 2009. It was my husband's idea, Harris said. He likes to joke that working in a government contracting gave him a love of drinking. A chemical engineer, Harris admits that she wasn't a big drinker before getting involved in the distilling business. Which is kind of a theme, because the Cocho's the same thing. Not drinkers, and that's...
Right. And from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it Mike's grandma?
Yeah.
I was going to mention that when we first started talking about the history.
Another woman of whiskey.
A woman of whiskey.
Yep. Like many women of my generation, she says, I thought whiskey was harsh and unpleasant because I had only tasted bottom shelf whiskeys in college during the 1980s. Just like Jay.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-admitted.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
She said, I don't know if you're paying attention, this was copy and pasted from Forbes, so...
Wait,
That is not from Forbes.
When you were in college in the 80s, you only drank bottom shelf whiskey.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
See? During the company's first year as the only employee, Harris quickly mastered the trade from production to tasting. What was interesting to me, she says, about her rapid learning curve, was that I found so much more variety and flavor that I would have guessed in my first impressions. When Kentucky's first female master distiller, Mary Ann Eves Barnes, was
Nee Barnes. Keep going.
was given
This is. I don't want to. I don't want to interrupt you. They're like bullet points. It's not one cohesive thought.
Is that what's going on here?
Yes.
Ah.
So good job.
Jay doesn't have cohesive thoughts.
No, they're all bullet points. The space indicates.
So these have nothing to do with each other. I'm
No,
reading them
none.
like they have to do with each other.
That was great, though. I was like, "What? Did that really happen?"
I was
And
really-
like, "Wait a minute, hold on."
I was really getting into that story too.
I know. There's really like a lot of stuff that have everything to do with each other going on at once.
Alright.
Well, next bullet point. When Kentucky's first female master distiller, Mary Ann Eves Barnes, was given the choice between pursuing internships in renewable energy research or at the Brown-Forman distillery as part of her chemical engineering degree, I chose the bourbon, she says, launching a career that has
Respectable.
been... Yeah, sure. That has been an inspiration to many young women in the industry. Eves is not afraid to take risks either, like when she left Brown-Forman in 2015 to join the startup team charged with resurrecting Castle and Key on the site of one of Kentucky's oldest distilleries. I left all the perks of my previous job, she says, for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be part of the original Castle and Key team, to create new products and to mold my career. There, at 28, she was named a master distiller.
Yeah, she was I believe, the master taster at Woodford Reserve.
Wow.
And she left that on a whim, but she risked
for a
it
great
all.
opportunity, yeah.
She sacrificed everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the rest of the Nike meme. Damn it.
I was the master baiter.
I heard you're really good at debating people, so
Yeah.
you were a master debater.
He is good at that.
No, I'm talking about fishing. I bait the hook.
Yeah, and then you take it off, so you debate it.
Debater. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What else would I do?
We shit on everything.
That's the intro. That's the blurb at the beginning of your intro. Wednesday Night Whiskey. We shit on everything.
Here's another bullet point. American whiskey production had spread so far beyond the nation's tradition whiskey-producing heartland, and in doing so includes young women like the 24-year-old Ali Ochoa, whose Mexican family settled in College Station, Texas, before she was born. Ochoa, whose job title is Whiskey Scientist. What a job title, though.
Whiskey scientist.
Whiskey Scientist.
Sign
Wow.
me up.
That's
I'm
pretty good.
I'm grievously under.
God, I want to be a whiskey
Yeah.
scientist for Space Force.
That's almost as good. When my buddy Zeke worked at Pitt, he had his name badge, right? And they told him he could pretty much put whatever he wanted on it. So he put Dunedain Ranger, but that's almost as cool.
Yeah.
Whiskey
Yeah.
scientist.
I would take Strider over Whiskey
Yeah,
Scientist.
me
in my
too,
career,
though. Me
yeah.
too. But still, I mean, that's pretty cool. Whiskey
Yeah.
scientist.
That's a strong second.
That's a strong second.
So anyway, Whiskey Scientist over here joined Fort Worth, Texas-based Firestone and Robertson Distilling Company in July. By the way, did you like how I just took over your paperwork?
That's
You
fine.
did the research, but I'm doing all the
I
mouth
wanna
work.
read
That's
next.
fine.
Okay.
That is
You can read the
okay.
next blurb. I'm gonna give
Just
this.
save the last one for me, because that's the segue.
I'm gonna give Ali Ochoa a nice little ethnic-sounding voice. Here we go. Not gonna be racist at all. Anyway, Fort Worth, Texas-based
Oh,
Firestone
yes.
and Robertson Distilling Company in July 2017. I became interested in whiskey, she says, when I learned about Scottish whiskies in an undergrad history class at Texas A&M. Ochoa, who went on for a master's in flavor chemistry and sensory science, says that when people would ask me what I wanted to do when I graduated, I told them that I wanted to work in whiskey because after all, you don't celebrate juice, you celebrate with whiskey.
It's over. We mean no disrespect.
So I didn't. You could have.
That's fine. Good job.
You know,
Good
it's-
on you, mate.
Hey, you don't celebrate with juice. You celebrate with whiskey.
I mean, unless you consider wine juice.
It's true.
We haven't toasted a single one of these ladies, by the way.
We need. We'll go back. Who needs some more?
Just a little. Just a little.
Still
Just a
doing
little
alright.
good.
I'm good.
We'll go back. Flip the page. We got to go back to Pia. Was that her first name? Pia Corazon.
Pia Carasoni.
Yeah. Yeah. That. I'm not even gonna try. Pia. Here's to you.
That's a solid.
Mm-hmm.
Salud.
Next,
I would like to toast Becky Harris.
Becky Harris.
Bex.
I love this guy.
Up next,
Who, this
Kentucky's first female master distiller, Marianne Eves
Barnes.
Nee Barnes.
Yeah, I do believe she's just a Barn. It goes by Barnes.
Yeah,
at this
she
point.
she dropped the eaves.
Yeah.
So she's an eavesdropper.
And next, Ali Ochoa. I hope I'm pronouncing that first name correctly. I'm not sure.
It's a good episode.
It is. We're probably dead.
We are.
Yeah, and now moving on to Stacy Stewart.
Good old double S.
No.
No.
Okay.
Stacy Stewart. Mind of a Chef star Edward Lee launched his Louisville, Kentucky bar, Whiskey Dry, earlier this year. He tapped Stewart to round up over 200 bottles of whiskey.
No,
That's
James.
the whole thing?
Yep.
I guess we'll toast that.
It's like a bullet point. All right.
They're supposed to be.
Could you imagine if I was still reading this?
To
quote?
Miss Stewart. Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Moving on to Women Who Whiskey.
Nope, that's me.
I got to read that?
Go ahead.
You did good though, bud.
Go ahead.
No.
We can still we can still do the segue.
Do you
Go
want
ahead.
to you want me to stop when we get to here?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do it from there. That's great. You're doing fucking great.
Hey, moving on.
I disagree. I thought I did better.
No soup for you.
No soup for you. Women Who Whiskey. An experimental cocktail club for women. That's interesting. As founder Julia Ritz-Tafoli describes, the International Association of Women interested in gathering to learn more about whiskey was born in 2010 when Tafoli moved to New York City for graduate school. Tafoli, a self-described organizer, decided to assemble a group of female students who wanted to discover New York together through its whiskey bars. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was the cusp of the social media explosion, Tafoli continues. So we came up with our name, Women Who Whiskey. That's WWW.
Yeah, you're right.
And we
Unless they spell who H-O-O, which would be incorrect.
that wouldn't be right though.
Yeah.
And we started getting replies from a lot of women who wanted to join us. Then, after we graduated, we took jobs around the country and started clubs wherever we landed. Which segues into our next segment.
It does.
Jay, hey, I want to toast Stacy Stewart and Julia Ritz-Tafoli. These are women who are striking a blow for whiskey.
They absolutely are.
And, I mean, we may clown around or whatever, but seriously. Thanks.
Yeah, props
Thanks,
to these
ladies.
women, of
props
course.
to these women, for real.
Yeah, I have to. Okay, I got it. And I do want to. So what I did after this, this segues right into our next topic. While I was searching for all of this information, I came across the Women of Whiskey website on Facebook.
Badass.
Or Women Who Whiskey. I'm sorry.
Oh. Still
And
badass.
I sent them a message, and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you guys want to help with this? You want to get on board?" And I said, and what I specifically want to do is I see that you have a chapter in Philadelphia.
Right.
And since we're from Pennsylvania, I would like to speak directly to them. And I actually spoke to Julia.
No shit.
And she said, "Here, let me get you the contact for Sarah, who is the head chapter woman who runs, this is redundant, the chapter in Philadelphia."
Right.
So what I did was, after a few emails back and forth, I said, "How about I send you a few questions, and then you just answer the questions, and I'll read them out loud in the show."
I can see why you wanted this segue.
Yeah. So these are the direct answers from Sarah, who operates the Philadelphia Women of Whiskey Club.
The Women Who Whiskey.
The Women Who Whiskey.
Has the segue happened yet, or am I waiting to get there?
That was it.
I believe we're segueing.
Yeah, we're segueing right now.
It seems
You're in it.
It's long-winded to me. I thought it would be better.
Good night, everybody.
Hey,
no. So the segue is.
maybe you could toss out like if people want to find them where.
Yeah, I will definitely post links in the show notes for all of our female listeners who want to possibly even get a hold of the clubs.
I think
the
all our
Women Who
female
Whiskey.
listeners are in the Netherlands.
All right.
So you just
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically the interview, so to speak. While doing my research, I stumbled upon our last mentioned major female, and I contacted Julie, and she put me in contact with their Philadelphia chapter, and I asked them a few questions, and these are their answers. So number one, which is I had to ask the most typical question, tell us a little bit about the organization. And what she said was, the Women Who Whiskey is a collaboration of men and women getting together to discuss topics within the spirit industry. They host events that support different whiskey brands and just to be together. The Women Who Whiskey Philadelphia skews mostly women, and while we get together, it is a great time bringing our favorite brands and talking about why that particular brand has become one of our go-tos. Now, more than ever, we need a platform that supports women and gives us a reason to, quote, drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
Absolutely. This organization is one of the most exciting parts of celebrating such a growing spirits category. You do not have to be someone that works in the spirits industry, which makes everything a little more well-rounded. My next question was, how did you get interested in whiskey? And I'd also like to point out real fast before I go any further, I really didn't have any idea what kind of questions to ask, and if it wasn't for my sister, Amy, she kind of helped me with the type of questions that I should ask. So, cheers to you, P. Thanks for
cheers to P.
Thanks for the help.
Pee-wee. We heard that story.
And I'm dragging her into whiskey, so she is now a woman who whiskeys.
She can definitely contact that organization
if she wanted to. So the question was.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why do you consistently have who capitalized?
That's copied and pasted right from her answer.
Look, go back. See. That's how they do it?
That's how Sarah wrote it.
I was just wondering if you were going to... Well, I guess that wouldn't make a difference if you were looking it up. That kind of shit doesn't matter.
No,
okay.
Not at all. So the next question was, question number 2 was, how did you get interested in whiskey? And she responds, what is not to be interested about it, you know? There are so many great nuances about each different whiskey, and it is so exciting to hear different women's perspectives on why they love a certain brand over others, etc. Whiskey is also an easy drinking spirit. It doesn't require to be mixed in fancy cocktails in order for you to enjoy it.
Very true.
Mixed, neat, or on the rocks, they're all very delicious. Question number 3, I said, what are some of your favorite whiskeys and why? And she responds with, there are so many. I love Jameson though. It has always been a staple behind my home bar, and I have so many fond memories drinking the beautiful spirit. Question number 4. Are there any distilleries close to you that you recommend that maybe we should check out? Now, I'm going to have to read this and you'll go check it out, but she said, we are pretty blessed in Pennsylvania to have many fine distilleries that are worth a visit, and she actually posts a link here of the distillerytrail.com in Pennsylvania, and I will post that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I will post that in the show notes so you can check that out. And if there are any close to you, please, by all means, go check that out. Number 5, I asked, do you have any female family members who are in the whiskey business? If so, what do they do? Sarah says, I don't have any family members in the whiskey business, but many close friends that are. She says, I too am in the business. We all represent all facets of the business, sales, marketing, events, PR, for several brands. Now, I don't know if she didn't offer the brand names because she wasn't allowed to.
Or maybe Jameson is one of the ones.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right.
she didn't offer anything, and I wasn't going to,
Sure.
poke and prod and
Sure.
ask, well, which ones? But so they do have ties to the physical whiskey
They're
business.
handy
Yeah. And then number 6 was a very short answer. I said, has there been any family history in whiskey that your family may have been involved in? And she said, no, unfortunately not. So I didn't want to overburden them with questions. I only asked 6. I didn't want to be that guy that just asked a bunch of questions and everything like that. But I want to personally thank Julia and Sarah for taking the time to answer those questions. That was awesome. Julia, Sarah, thank you very much for your time and cooperation.
I would like to one of the questions that I wonder about, and I know that P helped you with this. I mean, it's sort of like the question though. I wonder if they feel that being women involved in the whiskey industry, if they feel that that's been something that, if that's been something that's really kind of, they've had to overcome. Has the whiskey industry embraced women? I'm wondering if they have any feeling at all as if it's been a help, a detriment, or just been neutral,
Yeah, I think maybe if Jay's willing, he should, and especially if the Whisketeers are willing, to maybe come up with some questions to fire back at, if she's willing to take questions again.
Right.
Just for some feedback from our episode, maybe we can get a couple more questions from the listeners, fired off to them, and it would maybe be cool to have a follow-up someday. We don't have to do a Women of Whiskey Part 2, but maybe if anybody listening has any more questions, maybe this is just a question to the listeners. What kind of questions would you have for someone?
Especially if there are any women whisketeers out there.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Women or men, if you have questions and
and not even so much just with this, but any kind of topic. We want any kind of questions that we can get our hands on.
And you can throw them in the comment section of the episode, but also if you don't want it to be public laundry, you can go ahead and send us an email, and if you want it anonymous, we can make it anonymous.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I know some people are kind of intimidated by the public forum,
So yeah, that's all I really have. As far as, like I said, there had to be a point where I had to stop and pull the brake and be like, this is a good place to stop, and I feel that I did reach that point. So again, thanks you to everyone who helped us out with this episode.
You know who I'd like to thank?
Who?
I'd like to thank you for your time and effort and for compiling
guys.
all that. That's
Stop.
a toast to our very own woman of whiskey.
the Sexton of people.
The bearded woman.
I'm going to get that to stick, Jay. The Sexton of people.
All right. I'll take that. Jay, the Sexton of people.
Jay, the Sexton of people. Yeah.
Like Calvin Klein.
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Do we want to throw anything else in here or just be done?
I think that was pretty good. I mean, that's
we're
pretty good.
We're good.
We're
All right. Let's as we always do. It's time to put the proverbial cork in this episode, and we will end it the way that we always end every episode with, "What are you listening to this week?" And we will start
with yourself.
Okay. This week I have been listening to a lot of The Devil Wears Prada. I realized I wanted to go. They're doing their 10th anniversary tour of with Roots Above and Branches Below, and I really wanted to go see that show. However, I'm realizing that I'm just not going to be able to go to that show.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. But I still, it hasn't stopped me from really jamming it out. And the song that really caught my attention over the last several days comes from their Space EP, and the song is called "An Asteroid Towards Earth."
Right on.
Movie, yeah. Jason.
I have, coincidentally, I mean, this actually just happened this way. I'm really glad we did the Women of Whiskey tonight, because my pick for the week ties right into that.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give a shout out here to one of the women of metal, who nobody really does better. I've been listening recently. A band named Bathsheba from Belgium.
Spell that one.
Bathsheba.
Okay.
Tied it up, I guess they're wrapping it up for a little bit. I don't know if it's just a little hiatus or, I don't know what the deal is. But, you know how the Euro metal scene is. There's a lot of little localized sounds that, and I dig all that. Well, the Belgians are badass at their doom metal, and there's really none more badasser than Michelle Nocon, who formerly was of Serpent Cult, but she was singing for Bathsheba, and I've been sort of lamenting their little hiatus as of late. So I was revisiting the 2017 album Servus, Servus.
Spell it good.
Servus.
Servus.
Yes, and as far as the women of metal go, there's none more badass than Michelle Nocon, and and she's just a pretty cool person as well. And the song that I should also mention that band has not only ex-members of Serpent Cult, but ex-members of Death Penalty and Sardonis are in it. There's really awesome example of an awesome Belgian doom metal band. The song that I'm going to suggest is called "The Sleepless Gods," and a toast to Miss Nocon and Bathsheba. It was a good run. Awesome band.
Cool. Sweet. Michael.
So, like I said last week, I've been enjoying having Pandora Premium. Lets me kind of fine tune stations and not have to worry about ads and all that, and give thumbs downs and thumbs ups as I want. But I kind of made a station that was based on albums that I had listened to in college, at the end of college, that era, between 2007 and 2011, that era. So one of the bands that I really was into, even before I went to college, was a band called the Blood Brothers, and they were around for a little while, from basically, I think, the 90s to 2007, and then they had a little stint after that. But an album that I strongly recommend is the album Crimes, which I love every song on that album. Now, as far as genre goes, they're kind of more of like a post-hardcore, that kind of noise rock type band. But I guess as far as songs for the playlist, I would probably recommend the title track, Crimes.
Okay.
It's really groovy, but I recommend the whole album. Pretty
Sweet.
awesome. So, yeah.
Hey guys, we do a playlist, and we noticed that I know every week there's a few new followers. We haven't quite broached 10 yet, but I mean there's at least one a week that I'm noticing that people are paying attention and they are following our playlist. If you search my personal Spotify channel, which is I think if you just type in J Smith, JAE, you'll find me. But it's listed there, or if you even type in, if you go into the search bar on Spotify and type in the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee, it does pop up, so it is available. What we do is each week we do what are you listening to this week, and we will pick a song from the album that we are listening to and post it on our playlist to raise awareness of the bands that we are interested in. So you can get a small taste of the madness that comes.
It's a pretty diverse playlist.
It is a very diverse playlist. You go from one breath to listening to. I'm pretty sure this is the way it goes. There's an an Under Oath track, and it goes right into Gregory Alan Isakov.
The way God intended.
Yep. So there's a lot of cool music in there. Listen. We're not going to judge you harshly if you don't listen to every song. We get it. It's not always the easiest stuff. Jason's makes, but it's not that bad.
Whoa.
I guess it's like I had ICP on there.
I know. Why would you do that? What are you doing listening to
I would rather have good audio quality than good
Strongly
bad audio
disagree.
than
Strongly
bad audio
disagree.
quality. I like to be able to hear what I'm listening to, and oh god, burzum. But no, we appreciate those of you who have followed the playlist.
I can't believe it's not Fenris's Red Planet that just sends you right over the edge.
I didn't mind that.
Really?
No. So yeah, definitely check out our playlist. We have that's actually one of my favorite parts of the show now is doing the playlist.
Absolutely.
So, and hey, even for my acoustic act, I've picked a song or two from the whiskey playlist, and I'm trying to incorporate those
Working
in my
on that
list.
person,
So
aren't you?
absolutely,
Absolutely.
but yeah, so
play down the hall. Everyone's sitting in this room. He's going to play down the hall.
I want everyone to go outside right now and just put your ear to the door. This next song is from Burzum.
Right.
So yeah, check out the playlist. It does mean a lot to us. We do put a lot of thought into what we pick. It's not just garbage. Apparently, aside from my picks.
True.
Not true. I get a lot of shit from my picks from time to time, but I don't care. Fuck y'all. Oh, I know. Sorry. I love you guys.
We shit on everything, dude.
We really do.
That's the next T-shirt.
The Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee. We shit on everything. So
I mean, if there's something that somebody out there holds near and dear to their heart,
and you want to fight us about
I mean,
it?
we're gonna shit on it.
Yeah.
That's
in
all
fact,
it is.
there's a Patreon story.
Right.
There is, in fact, a Patreon
there is
story.
a Patreon story about
to get the immediate answer to that story. That's a $50 donation direct through PayPal.
Right.
If you want that story drawn out, we require a $2 donation on the Patreon, and we will tell you one line of that story per episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, with that, guys, that effectively puts the cork in this week's show. Thanks again so much for tuning in this week. This has been a burden lifted off my shoulders.
Next week we're doing Firefly, right?
Fuck me. Not quite. So stay tuned for next week's episode, which may or may not be Firefly. We greatly appreciate all the Whisketeers, new and old, from day 1 to day 247.
Is that how long it's been on?
It has been. Now, that might be 247 is today. It's today's number.
So tomorrow it'll be 248.
Could be. But it's just one of those, I don't know exactly what day we started. I have to go back and really dig through the archives of when this happened. But it really does mean a lot to us that you guys tune in every week.
I thought that said 24/7. Like people who listen to us 24/7.
Could you imagine?
That would be amazing.
Oof.
That would be amazing.
I'm here for Mike's picks.
Yeah, I got good ones. Thanks, everyone. if you want to hear more of my picks, subscribe to my channel. It's www.mikespicks.com. Mikespicks.com. This is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com.
And this episode is also brought to you by LaCroix.
Ooh,
Yeah. My kids are drinking that shit now.
your kids are great.
Yeah.
God. I'm done. With that, I am Jay.
I am Jason.
I'm Michael.
And we are the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee. Please listen responsibly.